Well, the ex-politician accused of killing a Las Vegas investigative reporter back in 2022 returns to court today after a tense day of cross-examination.
It seems really odd that the most significant thing is not in your house, correct?
I think what's odd is that 5 days after the murder, that supposedly there was a shoe and also a hat in my house.
So the answer to my question, the most significant piece of evidence, the murder weapon, is not in your house despite your theory you've been framed.
That's correct, sir.
Let's talk about this.
So you are looking at Robert Tellus, a former Clark County public administrator who allegedly fatally stabbed journalist Jeff Garman, who had written a series of articles criticizing Tellus and his, quote, toxic workplace. Tellus testifying before the court, claiming he's being framed, that the evidence against him has been modified or planted, including his DNA and clothing. The trial resumes today with redirect testimony and follow-up questions. Now, if convicted, Tellus does face life in prison. So I'd like to welcome in attorney Joshua Schiffer. Joshua, thank you so much for your time. So a lot has happened. Before we get into specifics of what has already happened in court, what is your reaction to Tellus testifying, quote, by way of narration instead of a standard Q&A, question and answer format?
It was the biggest tell that every lawyer in America pretty much recognized immediately because of our ethical training. Mr. Tellus, or Mr. Tellay, as he's now asking to be referred to, is a member of the bar and an officer of the court, or at least was until he was prosecuted for this case. And he acted as his own attorney for the first year and a half of this prosecution. Now, he has counsel now that is basically acting as lead counsel, but if you as a practicing attorney know about facts that would be lies or allegations that would be lies if presented to the court, you're not allowed to suborn that kind of perjury. So when Mr. Tellus, who had indicated the entire time he wanted his day in court, he was going to explain to a jury exactly what happened with these accusations. When he got up to testify, the attorneys had to basically narrowly walk a fine line. They're not allowed to ask him questions that would suborn perjury or bring any knowingly false information into the court, but at the same time, they have to guarantee his right to his day in court and his First Amendment rights. So they requested and were granted permission by the court to allow Mr. Tellus to present his testimony as a narration, and that's what it was. Just when you think you've seen everything, we sat and watched a substantial presentation that he had obviously been working on for many, many months, where he explained a frame-up job. He believes that due to his position as a county administrator in Las Vegas, dealing with all of these issues, there was reason for particular third parties to frame him for a murder. He had distinct enemies, I guess, in the community, according to him, and believes that there was justification for these third parties to actually kill the investigative reporter, Mr. Garman, and blame him. So he's tried to explain that fully and completely to the jury. He was then cross-examined by the state yesterday, and today we have redirect as well as recross.
All right, so Joshua, we see time and time again, particularly in murder cases, where attorneys say, don't get on the stand. We know in this instance, his attorney strongly advised against Tellus taking the stand, as we saw. He did. So my question to you, what power does a lawyer have, if any, when their client goes against their direct recommendations?
Choosing to testify is one of the only parts of the trial your client or the defendant is 100% in control of. You have an absolute right under the First Amendment to present your case to the court. And the courts are almost always going to bend over to make sure that you have that opportunity, that you understand that opportunity, as well as the risks, like his counsel did warn him of. Generally, when you subject yourself to cross-examination by a state prosecutor, it's not a good look. The state is allowed to go and, in fact, encouraged to aggressively cross-examine you in order to show any prior issues that may show guilt or inculpate you in some way.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.